Black Creativity 2026 is now open at the Museum of Science and Industry. The exhibit features the nation's longest running exhibition of Black art, plus interactive family experiences, STEAM career showcases, that's science, tech, engineering, art, and mathematics, youth flight school camps, and signature events throughout the season. From art and innovation to education and community celebration, Black Creativity uplifts the voices, stories, and contributions of Black artists across generations. Grab your tickets now at griffinmsi.org. Steppenwolf Theater presents The Dance of Death, Connor McPherson's twisted modern take on Austin Strindberg's masterclass in marital warfare. In its 4-star review, the Chicago Sun-Times called it Steppenwolf acting at its very best, and as deliriously entertaining as it is astonishingly profound. Featuring 3 generations of Steppenwolf ensemble members and directed by ensemble member Yasin Piankov. The Dance of Death is now playing through March 22nd. Tickets at steppenwolf.org. Today on CityCast Chicago, it's the very last week of Black History Month, so we're bringing you some of our absolute favorite episodes about Chicago's contributions to Black history. And what better place to start than with the legacy of the Black Panthers? It's Monday, February 23rd. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Back in 2023, the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party was listed in the National Register of Historic Places. It was the culmination of a years-long effort to landmark a collection of sites associated with the Black Panthers in Chicago and across Illinois, and what is now becoming the Black Panther Party Heritage Trail. You can learn more about it at the link in our show notes. About a year before they won that historical recognition, I sat down with journalist and preservationist Layla Wills about the effort and why it was important to landmark more than just one spot in Chicago. Layla, this journey for you goes beyond an appreciation for history or architecture. This process is personal for you. Can you tell me, what were your parents' role in the party?
Both of my parents were in the party in the Altgale Gardens area. We had a breakfast program out there, and they would be what you would call regular cadre members. They weren't high-ranking members. They were part of the gas that keeps the engine going. So I refer to the rest of the party members as my aunts and uncles, so they have been my influences, my inspiration, and they were so young at the time that thankfully a lot of them are still with us. So it is urgent for us to get as much of the history documented as we can while we still have them here. Our house in Altgale Gardens was what you would have called a Panther crib or Panther pad. So, the Panthers lived communally. So, and they were young. So our house out there, my grandfather owned it or rented it. It wasn't like it was one of theirs. So the other party members lived there too. And then so my family, my uncles and cousins and even neighbors out there, if they hadn't joined the party officially, they were still around the party. So it was a huge influence when I was younger. But, the party ended in Illinois around 75, 76. So it wasn't the presence of an official party wasn't present for my entire childhood.
Yeah. I mean, with that, somewhat small of a window, and even withstanding the legacy of Fred Hampton, is Chicago and Illinois often included in the history of the Black Panther Party?
You'll usually find the assassination of our chairman included. And that was one reason I was excited about the film Judas and the Black Messiah, because most of the Hollywood productions have only focused on Oakland. And I knew that when they focused on chairman, that was going to bring a lot of attention to the Illinois chapter. I do wish we had a lot of things in place at that time, but it's still the curiosity and these party members, like chairman was chairman over these people, like they were making it happen in Illinois. protecting children, setting up these programs in some of the forgotten about nooks and crannies of Chicago. And you really get into the intricacies of Chicago neighborhoods.
I mean, in the number of places that you all have researched and tried to archive, you've got former daycare spots, former healthcare facilities, former meeting places and Panther pads, places where the breakfast programs would have been held. Why is it so important for some of these locations to get landmark status?
A lot of the landmarks in our, let's say, Black neighborhoods would be for architecture. Let's take CVS High School or some kind of church, beautiful architecture. But those buildings were not made for us. Though we inherited those when when the Great Migration happened and white flight happened. So ours, they could be so unattractive or plain and maybe not even in good condition that the city will demolish them. But demolishing these properties is demolishing our heritage, our memories. Our children can't go into a neighborhood and know the Black Panther Party was there. Our headquarters on 2350 West Madison is a Walgreens. The Southside office, 4233 Indiana, is an empty lot. Like there's a tree growing there right now.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the locations and their significance. Can you tell me the story of the Better Boys Foundation in Lawndale?
Yeah, so 1512 South Pulaski, okay, North Lawndale. It was the Archie Moore boxing gym, okay, and the neighborhood at one point was all white. Then, the Great Migration was happening, the neighborhood changed, and South Lawndale maintained their demographic, but North Lawndale turned just about completely Black. But the owner of the Archie Moore boxing studio was Joseph Kelman. And Mr. Kelman offered boxing to the neighborhood youth, to these Black kids. It was also a neutral gang territory or space, a neutral space for the Vice Lords, the Egyptian Cobras, and I think there were a few others. All the boys could go in there and receive boxing training and other activities they may have had. But as time went on and those boys started to get older, Mr. Kelman wanted to offer more than just boxing. So he decided to turn it into the Better Boys Foundation. So the Minister of Education for the Black Panther Party in Illinois was a member of the Better Boys Foundation in 1968 and before. Okay, because remember how young we're talking about them. They're really young. They're high school students.
I think people forget with like the maybe not the lore, but just like the separation and distance between the history. We forget how young Black icons were when they were fighting for civil rights movements throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But the Black Panther Party was especially built of young men and women.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They thought the Better Boys Foundation would be a great place for the first breakfast program in Illinois because there was a lot of gang activity, but it was a safe place for the kids to go. And they already had a relationship with them.
How did these programs that the party instituted, how did they work, inside these communities?
So Huey Newton, the head of the Black Panther Party, set out instructions on exactly how to institute a breakfast program, from cleanliness to traffic management to the times, the hours, what foods, how to get donations, and all those kinds of things. So it was a well-oiled machine. It operated, these breakfast programs were from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. The children of Chicago at that time, these are children of migrants from the Great Migration, or by that time they could have been grandchildren of migrants. Extreme poverty was in Chicago. Children were going to school with stomach cramps. They couldn't learn. They were listless in their eyes. They had parasites. They had all the ailments that come along with poverty. So the idea behind the breakfast program, one was for the party to start the program and for the people to take it over. And so they would get recruits through the parents of the children, community workers, and just regular volunteers. What was happening at that time was a dependency on food stamps. And at that time, you actually had to buy food stamps. So if you couldn't get the cash to buy food stamps, you didn't have food stamps and you relied on commodities. And commodities were mostly flour, lard, rice, just starchy diets, where the study that came back said the children were not receiving protein, milk, fruits, or vegetables. And so each breakfast, Monday through Friday, we have a sample menu of them too, included all of those things: milk, fruit or juice, protein for every breakfast.
Why not keep the Valentine's Day vibes going for another week? I'm talking a romantic Sunday afternoon at one of Chicago's best piano concerts with a mimosa or Manhattan slushie in your hand, and you getting all of that inside the former 7-Eleven off Clark and Belle Plaine. Yes, the one across from Graceland. The venue is now called The Checkout, and it's from Access Contemporary Music. The next concert is February 22nd, featuring rock star pianist Wen-Ting Shi, who is performing the ultimate masterpiece. Yes, B minor sonata from Franz Liszt. And if you ask a classical music nut like myself, for just $20, that's already worth the price of admission. But that's just the first part of the show. She is also jumping into their American and Russian composer bags as well. And on top of that, you can get 20% off when you use promo code PIANO. You're welcome. You could do it at thecheckout.org. Solo piano spotlight at the checkout. Beautiful music, unexpected vibes, and yes, adult slushies. That's code PIANO at thecheckout.org. If you're looking for a reason to get out of town for a weekend or a week, maybe check out South by Southwest. That's where some of the world's most curious and inspired and eclectic minds gather to shape what's next. It's the ultimate gathering for the global creative community where thought leaders, filmmakers, musicians, and other professionals share the same space and build together. Innovation, film and TV, music, and culture collide when the 2026 South by Southwest conferences and festivals land in Austin, Texas, March 12th through the 18th. For one electric week, the city becomes a playground for boundary-pushing ideas, world premieres, and live performances that turn into beneficial experiences. Gain real access to new ideas, people, and opportunities that don't just happen anywhere else. They happen at South by Southwest, driven by Rivian. It's an experience built on connection and the thrill of seeing the future first. Plus, you can unlock a 10% discount on your innovation badge when you use code CityCast10 at sxsw.com/Chicago. Discount on badge price only, not combinable. Terms apply. So start planning your adventure today. Another spot, right? Because when we talk about the Illinois Black Panther Party, I was always familiar with sites over in like Lawndale on the near west side. I knew that some of them lived on the south side, but Holy Covenant is an interesting one because this is actually up in Lincoln Park. Was there a Black Panther Party presence on the north side besides just this location? Can you tell me about it?
Yeah. So when that church, Holy Covenant, became a relevant part of the Panther history, the Rainbow Coalition was in effect. The Rainbow Coalition, which consisted primarily of the Black Panther Party. Then you had the Young Lords, Puerto Ricans in Lincoln Park. They set up breakfast programs. So when you go to Lincoln Park today, people would think it was always like that, but it was not. Like, why was there a need for a breakfast program? Even poor white people had breakfast programs under the Young Patriots, Rising Up Angry. There were a lot of groups that joined onto this coalition. There were even groups of Chicanos all the way far south. So even if they weren't in that nucleus group, the young people across these racial lines in Chicago were building coalitions. So chairman who started the Rainbow Coalition was at this church, Holy Covenant, with Cha-Cha from the Young Lords, Mike Klonsky from the Students from a Democratic Society. That church gave them refuge over a period of days while the whole city was on lockdown. That church was very active in a lot of the protests and everything that was going on at that time, and was a real shelter for people in a time of a real storm in the city.
Mm-hmm. And that was taking place during the riots of the 1968 Democratic National Convention. And then a location that you all are working extremely hard to improve its historical significance and recognition is the People's Church, aka Church of the Epiphany, which is now the Epiphany Center for the Arts over on the Near West Side. You know, why was this location such a remarkable space in the history of the Panthers?
First, I am so glad that the Epiphany Center of the Arts were the ones to take possession of that property. What else could it be but something as beautiful as that? And it has maintained its beauty all these years. And the People's Church was another safe place, and other organizations were having meetings there. There were meetings against the Vietnam War taking place. They had sheltered homeless people during that time, and somehow, which I haven't got all the way to the root story on how that became the party's major meeting place, but I'm working on it, became a major meeting place of the Black Panther Party. You could see one of Chairman's last speeches in the film, The Murder of Fred Hampton, American Revolution. There's pictures of them in there. There was a breakfast program there, and that was there after Chairman was assassinated. There was a big, huge rally. So the People's Church is going to be our primary property for our multiple property submission. The People's Church is gorgeous, beautiful architecture. So it is already a landmark. So what we're doing is just adding the Panther Party's narrative to the story of the People's Church. So many Chicago stories involved because the party was another reason it was unique is you didn't have to be a member to be a part of the benefit of it, to take part in the breakfast program, to come to the medical center. So they were involved in all of the Chicago. Matter of fact, it was incumbent on them to organize every community area in Chicago, and they did set out to do that and did it strong. Also, they dealt with issues we're still dealing with today.
Layla, thank you so much for joining us at CityCast Chicago. It's been a fantastic conversation.
I enjoyed it so much, Jacoby. Thank you so much.
Before we get out of here, you know I got some good news. Huge love to young Chicago authors in the ongoing Rooted and Radical Youth Poetry Festival happening right now in the city. Now, if you want to get down with the get down and participate in a writing workshop, an open mic, share some of your poetry, I got the perfect event for you. It's going down tomorrow from 5 to 7:30. Open to all youth ages 13 to 24 at the Harold Washington Library. They even gonna have prizes in the building. I will drop a link for you in the show notes. It's free. All you gotta do is share it with your people, pull up, and have a good time. As always, I appreciate y'all for listening and reading. If you're new around here, make sure you bookmark our website, chicago.citycast.fm. Additionally, if you've been here for a while and you love the work that we're doing and you're like, Kobe, I done already shared you with all of my people. I listen and read every day. How else can I support the podcast? Great question. You can sign up to become a CityCast Chicago neighbor. Kobe, what exactly is that? I got you. For $10 a month or $100 for the year, if you got it like that, you are going to get access to ad-free listening, access to neighbors-only events, which I'm telling you, we got some fire things planned for you in 2026. But again, you also going to know that you are helping to keep this podcast and this newsletter going well into the future. So we appreciate that. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow with some more of our favorite episodes celebrating Black history in Chicago. We'll talk to you then. Peace.